hey, before I play this, I want to thank Felton Wrongway from Dank side of the ring. We do appreciate it. Lance and I appreciate it. This is an episode of the Dank side of the ring that going to air the same time as this episode. But what it was we worked on it with them and in agreement where we're going to kind of like a simulcast, I guess, or a stereo. We've done this a couple of times with episodes. I believe Gene Jackson and a P3 radio episode about Brian Christopher. So sit back, guys, and we're going to play the whole episode. If you're on Patreon, commercial free. If you're not on Patreon, you'll get a break with commercials and everything. Thanks to everyone. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know. Give us some feedback.
I became familiar with Tom when Shooting the Shiznit aired their episode in 2017.
Honestly, they're all interchangeable. There's no really wrong answer. Number 3, could have been number 1. So all 3 of these guys are your top stars from the 30s. At number 3, we start off with Tom Hydrant Hightower.
And I always have to do a shout out here because this guy is Jim Vicious's favorite wrestler during this era. So fuck you, Jim Vicious. He's at number 3, not at number 1. It's Tim Hightower. And I can't even say his fucking name. Guess what? Just guess what his gimmick was. You had him, I guess 3, being such a good worker, but this fucking gimmick killed me sometimes. He was a fireman. He came out with the whole gimmick, and I can't believe they did what they did when he turned heel. But there's something about, all right. So what they did was when he turned heel, he was known to have started fires. Okay, here was a fireman, and now he's starting fires around the arena. They had one incident where someone got trampled and broke their leg or something. Here's the part I hated when he was a babyface. It's when they bring that fucking dog out, that fucking Dalmatian. I know, he's one of the top guys, but it's just like when you get sick of something Ric Flair did, That fucking dog was so stupid, and the only reason they did that is so that they could, sell gimmicks of the dog, So, yeah, number 3, I don't even have anything secret about him, but the fireman gimmick, when he turned heel was kind of funny, putting fires everywhere, but kind of controversial too.
I didn't even realize, you just touched on a good point. The Pee-wee the Dog merchandise is the forerunner of Daryl Takahashi today.
There you go.
If you think about it. So, they did sell for that day, for obviously in the 30s, they were selling those stuffed dogs at whatever it was, a dime or whatever for the gimmicks at that point. But they made a fortune off of Tom Hydrant Hightower's dog gimmick. So I actually loved the fireman gimmick. I thought it was cheesy as hell. The fans adored him because he was like the prototypical public servant. There's been cops, there's been soldiers, there's been other various, prototypical servant jobs, and the fans just ate him up. I think what really got him over was the fact that he did actually go out on some fire calls and actually served as a fireman here and there. He was like a part-time fireman. He got burned on the foot on one of those calls. It nearly ended his career. So I think they had to, they taped him up. They covered him in gauze and ointment to make sure that he could actually still work, because obviously back in those days, those guys were making $5 a show, and this guy was working 6 shows a night. So, he did not have the luxury of taking any time off. So, but I'll agree with you. That heel turn nearly killed him. I don't think the fans bought him when they turned him into the arsonist. I don't think that it went downhill from there. But I'll tell you, I had to rank him highly because his babyface run was so strong. It was one of the strongest runs of the 30s. So Tom Hydrant Hightower at number 3. taking us to...
Hold on. The thing that the people, it didn't work and they got pissed off was that he still worked as a fireman. So it was almost like, the kayfabe was, everyone found out, newspapers would have him listed, that he helped on a fire. Mm-hmm. Although he, was running around here setting a fire in dressing rooms and a trash can around the ring and stuff like that. So I think that's the reason that part didn't get over. And then that fucking dog. All right, go ahead.
And it's a good thing there was no internet back then because that fireman gimmick would have been over. But the telegraph...
Oh, wait. We forgot to mention what move he invented.
The carry, obviously.
There we go. See? Yeah. I mean, we just looked over that. Okay,
that's
all right.
That's probably why we have him so high on the list, because he invented the fireman's carry. So good call.
Part of that, and just that gimmick was so over, I think the controversial part of him turning heel.
Yeah.
Man, I could sit here and talk about him all night.
Yeah.
The thing about it was, and you know how...
The story is horrible and just shocking. It might be the craziest story we have ever covered here on the show. My name is Felton Wrongway. This episode is about Tom Hydrant Hightower, and this is the Dank side of the ring. Tonight, we have a very unusual story to start the news. Once a celebrated figure in the world of professional wrestling, Tom Hydrant Hightower was known for his larger-than-life persona and his unique firefighter gimmick. With his chiseled physique and fiery spirit, he captivated audiences worldwide, entertaining them with his daring stunts and thrilling matches. Tom's wrestling career reached its peak in the late 1930s, where he dominated the ring as Hydrant Hightower, the Flame Fighter. Clad in firefighter gear adorned with blazing flames, he entered arenas to the sound of sirens and cheers, ready to battle his opponents with the ferocity of a raging inferno. Fans adored Tom's dedication to his character, and he reveled in the adulation. But behind the scenes, the pressure of maintaining his larger-than-life persona began to take its toll. We spoke with his first wife, Phyllis Murphy.
Yeah, the first time I saw him in the ring, I knew he was the one. Just a Greek god. I gave one of the ring guys my rotary phone number, and I sat by that phone every day till one day it finally rang. I was so excited. I think he was drunk, but it didn't matter. I was going to have a date with the Hydrant.
He was my dad. He was my hero growing up. But yeah, man, he was on the road all the time. There was this one time I was out back fishing, and I got a paper cut on my toe. I was screaming out in so much pain, "Dad, come quit, I'm hurt." And he never came. My ma ended up coming out with one of them Band-Aids to save the day. After that, I was done.
Retirement wasn't easy for Tom. Struggling to adapt to life outside the spotlight, he found himself yearning for the adrenaline rush of his wrestling days. But instead of accepting his new reality, Tom became consumed by a dangerous obsession. He wanted to relive the excitement of battling flames. But this time for real.
Hey, I'm Brian Trammell from stspod.club, and this is my partner Lance. Felton, we're happy to be here on Dank side of the ring. The funny thing is that there's a lot of stuff that happened after we produced our little segment there. One of the main things is that after Tom went to jail, Lance here, he had a chance to actually talk to Tom in jail, and Tom just pretty much just cussed him, and then Lance got to well, Lance, go ahead and tell him.
I knew at that moment he had shit his pants. I could smell it.
Well, at least we know he's not lying. He did shit his pants. Crazy. But we got a couple of sound clips from Tom the Lance recorded, this was it. This was all that we got from him going all the way up to the jail.
Motherfucker, you cocksucker!
As I said, Felton just cussed at Lance, and then Lance yelled at him something about restitution, and then we got this great sound clip.
What the fuck you want me to do about it?
Armed with his knowledge of firefighting techniques acquired during his wrestling career, Tom began setting fires under the cover of darkness. Each blaze he ignited provided him with a fleeting sense of euphoria, a reminder of the glory days he so desperately missed.
We talked to his second wife and BT. You wanted to comment something about her.
Yeah, screw that guy. No good son of a bitch. Pardon my French. Rotten cheating bastard. I was all that was holding that family together. That time when Henry got that paper cut on his pinky toe, and Hydrant couldn't even be bothered to get a Band-Aid out of the first aid kit. Yeah, that was a regular thing too. I don't know what it was with Junior and those paper cuts, but that's how I knew Hydrant had gone off the deep end. No Band-Aid getting bastard.
Yeah, man. Frank the Tank actually commented on this on another podcast, talking about his ex-wife and him, Tom and his ex-wife. What they would do is Tom would bring a bunch of masked wrestlers over, and they weren't, regular masked wrestlers, but he'd make all the wrestlers put masks on so his wife would not know who they were having sex with in this big, huge gangbang they did. And Tank actually talked about it on that other podcast.
He didn't want her to know who they were. So if she ever wanted to do what she just did, how does she say how the person looked? All she could describe is if they was wearing masks, unless she saw them before they put the mask on. It's craziness, man. And you know what's so crazy is, bro, that all these stories has been around the industry for a long time.
As you look at pictures of this guy in his youth, it was crazy. He looked just like John Cena.
Ah, come on, Lance. He's trying to be the look-alike king there, Felton. This is a serious show. I was just totally shocked when I heard the news.
Man, it hit me hard. I'm sitting there watching the news and thinking, just why? Just why?
But Tom's thrill-seeking antics took a deadly turn when one of his fires resulted in tragedy. A blaze he had started engulfed an apartment building, claiming the lives of several innocent people. Suddenly, the cheers of the crowd were replaced by the cries of the victims, and Tom found himself facing a harsh reality. He was no longer a hero but a villain, responsible for unspeakable harm.
What, do you just erase him from the wrestling history books? I mean, he created the fucking fireman's carry, for crying out loud.
Jeff Jarrett made comments on Tom from his time working for him on his podcast. They brought him in like they did all the other old guys.
Lethal Lockdown has Christian and Tom being the respective captains in a weapons match. Tom's really being pushed here. And by the way, that's 10 guys in a cage match with weapons. Yeah. Maybe a little Memphis there. Tom's a top guy, though. Who was so high on Tom?
Well, if we back up into this story, it was Christian, Tom, and AJ Styles. Yes. And, I think Christian deserves a lot of credit kind of in the whole thread that he helped elevate Tom, his talking, and obviously helped AJ and his kind of maturing as getting his range of, I hate to say acting skills, but yeah, kind of his range of character. So it all kind of worked together. And I know internally we were like, all right, so it's a 10-man tag, if you will. AJ's there. Let's highlight Tom coming out of the Christian split and push Tom up the card. He wasn't main eventing this show, but it was the Christian Tom storyline. Lack of a better word, we wanted to give him the ball and see how it turned out.
As investigators closed in on him, Tom's world crumbled around him. The same skills that had once made him a wrestling legend now served as damning evidence against him. In a sensational trial that gripped the nation, Tom was convicted of multiple counts of arson.
You are a killer!
His fall from grace complete.
We talked with the arresting officer, Buford Montgomery.
Sure, I'd seen him in the ring down at the old Wabansia Armory. I remember when he was headlining in Blytheville, too. That's when him and Renegade had them North Coastal Intermunicipal tag belts. They won from Rocco and Cheeves. But when I got called to the house and he was laying there naked, surrounded by 10,000 matchsticks, I had to haul him downtown. Broke my heart, but it's my job.
Hey fans, I am Rex Renegade, one half of the First Responders. What he did in his spare time was his business. At first, when Toots put us together as a team, we really hit it off. Really gelled. He was the fireman, I was the house call doctor. It just felt right. He came to the ring with that hose, and I had that medical bag. Man, those were the days. No one knew. All I had in that bag was a fifth of Jack. That's okay. But there was that matchbook incident in 1941 that none of us wanted to believe. Not Tom, not the Hydrant. No way. I still have a hard time with that one. I never talked to him again. Sad.
With all those matches he had, and Rex Renegade being his tag team partner, can you believe Dave Meltzer never gave this guy over 4 stars for his matches? Just a travesty.
He looked, it was crazy. He looked just like John Cena.
Come on, Lance. God.
Now, instead of basking in the adoration of fans, Tom Hightower spends his days behind bars, a cautionary tale of the dangers of letting fame and obsession consume you. The wrestler-turned-arsonist serves as a stark reminder that even the brightest flames can be extinguished, leaving nothing but ashes in their wake.
You know, this might not be the best time for a story like this, but Tom, I gotta tell you, he was a huge fan of Flamin' Hot Cheetos, man.
Come on, Lance. Lord.
The story of a professional wrestler often embodies elements of tragedy and admiration, much like that of Tom Hydrant Hightower. In the realm of wrestling, athletes push their bodies to the limit, entertaining crowds with feats of strength and agility, while portraying larger-than-life characters. Yet, behind the spectacle lies a world of physical tolls, personal sacrifices, and sometimes tragic endings. Wrestlers may grapple with injuries, addiction, and mental health issues, struggling to balance the demands of their profession with their own well-being. The admiration for these athletes stems from their dedication, perseverance, and ability to captivate audiences with their performances. However, the tragic side emerges when the toll of the wrestling lifestyle takes its toll, leading to untimely deaths, shattered dreams, or personal crises. Despite the challenges they face, wrestlers often inspire profound admiration for their resilience and passion, even in the face of adversity. I am Felton Wrongway, and thanks for listening to the Dank Side of the Ring. Join us next week when we dive into the career of the stunning Phoebe Starr, wrestling superstar to top-notch porn star.